along with former State Department official and advisor to President Obama's 2008 presidential campaign, David Tafuri. Good to see you both. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
David, let me kick this off with you. North Korea, obviously a growing problem as we see real disruption happening there. The head of North Korea's brother, murdered. What's your take on North Korea, having come from the Obama administration with your experience here?
We have the best nuclear deterrent, which is that we have the best nuclear capability and we have the best missile capability. I'm all in favor of us using that missile capability and our missile defense systems as a deterrent to action by North Korea. But the problem is that North Korea is a rogue state with a maniac at the helm, and it's probably going to take more than that nuclear deterrent to get him not to go over the edge. In the past, it's taken good diplomacy. We have a president who hasn't shown that he's deft at diplomacy yet. We have a new Secretary of State who hasn't done diplomacy. So this is going to be a big test for them. I would like to see them to use both diplomacy and the missile capability and missile defense system to prevent further action by North Korea.
Diplomacy, Carl Higbee, when dealing with a maniac, has something changed? More disruption. Has something changed coming out of North Korea that President Trump needs to address?
Well, I think, Korea and Iran, a lot of these other people that are not friends of ours have been emboldened by the lack of, I guess, firm foreign policy from the Obama administration. The issue now is you have essentially someone like Dylan Roof running an entire country. I mean, North Korea is run by a madman, as David said, and we need to be prepared to back up our strong words. Trump has been very strong on Twitter and things like that. Look, next time you shoot a missile, shoot it down. That's my diplomacy.
Well, I mean, look, the missiles that were fired from North Korea came very close to Japan.
Yeah, they claimed them as international trade waters or Japanese trade waters.
So is a response required?
Absolutely, a response is required. And I would say to President Trump that if I was one of his advisors, I would say the next time they shoot a missile that leaves their borders, shoot it down.
David?
Well, this isn't actually all that new. North Korea has been testing missiles for a long time now. I do think putting in place the missile defense system is very important. I'm not sure about shooting down a missile that isn't going to actually go anywhere other than land in the water. But we do need to send a strong signal to North Korea that this is not appropriate and will not be accepted.
But David, what if it doesn't land in the water next time? That's why I'm saying if it leaves their borders, you got to get rid of it.
Well, with our nuclear defense system, I think we're tracking. We understand whether it's going to go in the water or it's actually targeting something.
How does China come into play here?
Well, China is wishy-washy on this. China has the chance to police North Korea quite a bit, and they're generally not. So the issue here is with China is we need to get on the same page with them. And this is the same thing with Russia and Assad and things like that we're dealing with over in Syria. We need to get on the same page with China. I know things started off a little rocky with, presidents not supporting the one China policy, but you know what? Yes, he can. That's what Trump's strong suit is. Trump is a negotiator. He can get in. People who have met him are like, wow, this is not the guy I thought he was. I mean, he's an amazing negotiator, amazing guy, and once people meet him, they love him.
There certainly is a lot going on. I mean, you've got North Korea as sort of a new element here that the president needs to deal with, but then, of course, there's extreme vetting. Let's talk about extreme vetting, take two. President Trump signing a revised executive order on immigration yesterday. It ensures protection for people with valid visas. It also exempts Iraq from the travel ban list. This updated order goes into effect March 16th. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer spoke about the changes yesterday. Watch this.
There was an element of surprise that benefited our country's safety. We lost that after the Ninth Circuit ruled the way that it did, and I think our goal was to make sure that we use that time to ensure the most effective implementation, which I think you're seeing by all accounts today.
Does this do that?
So here, the initial order, the Democrats will say, oh, it was a disaster, it was terrible and everything. It wasn't. It was a broad sweeping motion to try to protect the United States of America. This was much more finely tuned, and you saw the rollout with 3 of his cabinet members all singing in unison. You're seeing the beginning of an actual administration starting to roll smoothly.
Yes.
And this is exactly what we want to see. This is exactly what we want to see moving forward, and I think that I will challenge the courts to challenge this one.
Actually, it's true, David. Watching Rex Tillerson and Jeff Sessions up there at the podium yesterday, they were in command of the subject. They were calm. They were explaining specifics of this order. What was your takeaway?
Well, I sure hope they're in command of the subject. I mean, this has been a hot topic for a long time. The first order was a complete mess. This new order is better, but it's still not good. I applaud the fact that they took Iraq off the ban. I've been talking on your show about how important that is because we're partnering with Iraqis in the fight against ISIS, and it makes no sense to completely ban all Iraqis. But the main problem with the first order exists in this order, too, which is it's not going to make America more secure. It's not well calculated to do that because we banned people from 6 countries which have not proven to be sources of people who've attacked the U.S. and performed terrorist attacks in the U.S., but we haven't banned people from countries like Pakistan, like Afghanistan, like Saudi Arabia, which are proven to be places where terrorists have come from to the United States and harmed people.
Well, David, I'll agree with that. I think that absolutely we need to add some more countries. But as of now, these 7 countries, less now Iraq, were the ones originally handed down to Trump administration from the Obama administration. So I'm glad that you're on board with adding more to this. But I think people need to recognize that people do not deserve to come to the United States of America, especially if we don't know if they're going to be safe or not.
We got to talk about this FBI reportedly investigating 300 people who have already been admitted to the United States as refugees. They are being investigated for possible ties to ISIS. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I told you so comes to mind.
Right.
I mean, it's one of these things that time and time again we have to say that these people come from a society where they have no paper trail, where they have no background. There is no DMV. There is no Social Security office.
This is exactly what the administration has been talking about.
Exactly. And the issue here is you can do extreme vetting, you can do anything like that, but you don't know where they're coming from in the first place. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, 300 people, David.
Well, I applaud the fact that the Trump administration is doing this. This is exactly what we should be doing, which is investigating specific cases and making sure we've made the right decisions. Let's go forward with that investigation. Let's see what the results are.
Yeah.
That's
the point is they're already here. They came in as refugees, and we haven't even taken in a lot of refugees.
I know, but Maria, these are investigations. They haven't proven to show that mistakes were made.
Absolutely.
If mistakes were made, then we should augment the system. But so far, no refugees have engaged in terrorist attacks which have resulted in deaths of Americans.
Right.
None of the refugees that have come over here have done that. That's why it's not something we should be worried about, but we should always be trying to improve it and augment it.
But we'll watch this investigation of 300 U.S. refugees who've come to this country, and now they're being investigated for ties to terrorism. We'll be watching that story for sure. David Tafuri, good to see you. Carl Higby, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Great.
Thank you.
Coming up, not so picture perfect. Shares of Snap slumping after a soaring day.